You're watching The Edward Fowler Show. Now, here's your host, Edward Fowler.
And a very good evening to everyone who is watching this live tonight here on YouTube. It's not often I get to be joined by a winner from the BYB, and it's great to have on a fellow Englishman or Welshman, or even, doesn't really matter where you're from, but you're from the great islands of the UK. It's a pleasure to have on the Rebel here this evening as he goes by in the BYB. Good old Martin Reffell. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks very much. Appreciate you having me.
No, much appreciated for you to accepting to come on my show this evening. And you know, we like having winners here, and you're a winner as well. So how was fighting in Cardiff? Of course, it was a BYB's first time ever in Cardiff. How was that?
Do you know what? It was brilliant. The atmosphere was great. The venue was all right. It was an absolute belter of a night, to be fair. The fight didn't go as long as I wanted it to, but I was just too much on the night for Ryan in the end. He's a great guy, a great fighter, but I was just able to get it done quick.
Yeah, as you said, because you knocked him out in the first round. But I was quite surprised by your reaction there. By like, I wish it meant longer. Well, I mean, come on, why would you not go longer for? You did the job. You got it done in the first round. Why are you not going longer for? I feel like when it goes longer, there's more chance of you being knocked out, or more chance of going to the judges, or being a tie and whatnot. So you've kind of just shocked me right there.
Do you know what? Right, everybody finds it weird when I say this, but as long as I give everything, I like a good fight. I like the rounds. I like the violence. I like the blood. So I don't mind it going to the judges, because no matter what, when that goes to the judges, I've given it everything. So win, lose, it's not a massive issue for me as long as I've given everything. But yeah, I just wanted more of a battle. But we'll see on the next one, because yeah, I'm more of a fighter and I enjoy the fights.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and I do like your response. It's going to shock a lot of people there. People will be taken aback by that, especially me, like me. I love when fights just last a round or less, because it's quick, it's simple. When it's drawn out, it gets boring. People get started to boo. So, people like you because you get the job done in 1 round or less. They come and get to see them get their money's worth and get to see you do your job and go home again happy.
Well, I tell you what, any of my fights, I think I've had 3 stoppages in my Bareknuckle career, and all my other fights that have gone the distance. I've had 8 fights now, and 5 of those were fight of the night. 3 of those were stoppages, so I wasn't able to get fight of the night. But so any fight that has gone the distance has always been fight of the night, and I've always entertained all the way through the rounds. And the crowd get their money's worth from those rounds, and I get my fulfillment of violence.
Yes, most definitely. And there's people going to be out there speaking about you and your achievements so far, and you've had quite the year in the BYB. What was some of your highlights so far from 2024?
Well, I think the biggest highlight for me was the defence of my title against Rolando, because obviously BYB took over BKB, and that's where I'm originally from, and I won the British title last year, and then I defended it against the Filipino Rolando, and I think that was my biggest highlight, because again, I was the underdog in my own title fight. I was the champion, he's still the underdog, and I come out of that with the victory, with fight of the night, and with the war that I always look for.
Yeah, most definitely. And talk to me about then the I guess the takeover of the BSKB, because you mentioned there as well. Was a bit of like with you and all the other fighters involved with that promotion, thinking what's going to happen next? Because were you thinking about maybe you may have nowhere to fight because this other company, this outsider, was coming in, taking it over, or did you thought that this might be a good opportunity to show the rest of the world what I'm capable of?
Do you know what? It was a really good way that it happened because BYB and BKB already had a friendship and working relationship
Yeah.
where they were doing crossover shows. So we kind of knew, and I'd already fought on BYB against Ryan Jett last year. Um, and we already knew how it was going to go. So there was a bit uncertainty of how many fights we were going to get out, how it was going to work, how we would adjust to the changes. But I fell quite quickly into the triangle really comfortably, and I feel that it actually suits me better in that small space, in that clinch work. Um, there's a few things that I've got to get used to. The weigh-in the day before, we usually had the weigh-in on the day of.
Oh, okay.
The 3 minute rounds, obviously, we used to have two. The
Yeah.
five standard rounds, we used to have three. Um, but the 5 rounds I'm used to anyway because I was doing titles, and that's what we did. We did five. So I've really actually it's been quite a smooth takeover, and because of the working relationship that BYB and BKB had, both sides have gone quite smoothly, and everything seems to be running really well. So only time will tell, but I generally think that it was actually a really good setup in the way they've done it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, I hope that the vision of BYB is going to be great for the UK fighters and for the rest of Europe as well. So far, it seems to be they're doing a lot more shows over here at the moment. They're doing, Cardiff. They're coming back to Leeds later this year as well. They need to come, though, to the best city in the world, and that is Manchester, UK. We had the UFC here a few months back. Now it's time for BYB to show their magic, to bring their triangle ring to Manchester, because you know what's going to happen there, don't you? I think they're scared to come to Manchester because they don't want me to appear in Manchester. My birthplace. So that's why they're going to Leeds and Cardiff and London. They don't want to come to Manchester because they know I'm going to show up and I'm going to show out the BYB. But let's talk about you. Back to you, however. Where would you like to see the BYB go next?
Do you know what? Right, I wouldn't mind a home show. In Peterborough, it wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter where in the UK. It seems to be that wherever BYB go or BKB have gone, they get a good crowd. We've not had any problems moving around.
Nope.
All the fans seem to be really supportive. It's a really good atmosphere wherever we go. They've got a good setup and a good group following.
Well, you know what that is, don't you? Because they've got the best fighters, they've got the best broadcasting, they've got the best production. You've got the right people in the right places, and that's just a ticket.
Yeah, that's it. And they do look after fighters, and they do have the best interests. So, yeah, I think going forward, I'll fight anywhere, anyone. It's not really an issue as long as I get a good battle out of it.
Yes, because as you said before, you love the violence, and has that come from from a young age, or has that come from from something that was happening in your life, or?
I had a bit of a rough upbringing. Well, I was a bit of a hyperactive kid. I had a bit of a rough upbringing. Got pushed around a little bit and pushed back, and had a couple of scraps, a few. But no, yeah, I've always enjoyed a good rumble. I've never backed down from anything. So yeah, it's just kind of grown and got bigger. But I like the controlled violence. It's not like I'm a thug that wants to go out and cause trouble.
Yeah.
I've got 6 kids at home, so
Wow.
I'm quite happy to be a family man and then have the hobby of going out and causing carnage in a controlled ring.
Yeah. What do they think about you being a part of this crazy world of bare knuckle fighting? Are they supportive of you? Like, what on earth are you doing, Dad?
So all my girls are very supportive. So I've got all girls, and they're all really supportive, ranging from the age of she's 2 this year in October, and then my eldest is 18. So they're all really supportive. My partner obviously is a bare knuckle fighter as well. She'll be coming out in the BYB eventually. She's got a few glove fights that she wants to do, but she's definitely going to be coming into that mighty Trigon.
Any of your children want to follow suit with you two? Then is a future bare knuckle fighters on the way?
Well, our youngest, we have her in the gym all the time. We have her around it. So, you never know. Like, I think it'll be a bit harder for me to watch my daughters go into
Yeah.
a bare knuckle, but I'll support them in whatever they want to do. And if they want to fight, they'll fight. Um, and I'll show them the best I can to enhance those skills that they've got.
Yeah, no, most definitely, and it's cool because they have it in their bloods because of your mum and you and yourself. So it's gonna be very unlikely that at least one of your children will probably follow your footsteps and think, wow, I can make a career of this. I can go around and punching people in the face without any gloves needed, or with gloves sometimes. So it's great.
Yeah, as long as I teach him as well. Obviously, I explain to him that what I do is controlled, it's professional.
Yeah.
I don't agree with bullies, so I don't want them ever going out of the controlled environment.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're well-behaved girls, but yeah, the little one, I think she'll be the one that kind of follows her mum and dad's suit. The rest of them, I think they've all paths.
Well, you never know. Time will tell. Time will tell. You never know. You might be surprised. But on that though, I was watching a documentary the other day from Natural Geographic. It was on record for a while, but it was about the underworld of bare knuckle fighting. About how many promoters out there in the world will recruit underground fighters into their professional world of boxing and whatnot. And do you think that's a good way to bring in new fighters, from getting them from the underworld, where of course there is no sanctioned rules, as you mentioned before, you actually fight in a professional and a sanctioned arena. Do you think that's a good way to bring in the next generation, or do you think there's other methods of finding the next person, next star?
I think if anybody can follow the rules, I don't think you should rule out anybody just because of the background and where they come from. So if somebody from, as you say, the world of it, wants to get into a professional scene, then as long as they can follow the rules and keep within the standards that the promotion sets, then anybody should get the chance at it if they're good enough. Not everybody's good enough to do it. And some people say they are good enough, and then they step into that ring and realise that actually they're not. So, but I don't think you should rule out anybody. It's all dependent on if they can follow the sanctioned rules and the standard they've got to keep.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Most definitely. I've seen a lot of different personalities coming into the BYB. Some, of course, from the fighting world, and some not from the fighting world, but enjoying the sport of bare knuckle fighting in the BYB. The other month they had Shaq O'Neal turning up, big Shaq from the basketball world showing up to show his appreciation to all the fighters. You had, of course, former, I can't remember the name of the promotion now, it just slipped my mind, but Jake Hager showing up to a BYB event. You've also got a correspondent who used to work in the WWE, as a wrestler / I guess ballet dancer, alongside a wrestler called Fandango. And then you've also had many other great people part of the BYB, like Mike Goldberg bringing his legendary voice to the sport, along with, of course, Big Mo, who's doing big things in both the bare knuckle and the boxing world. But these incredible personalities and fans, celebrity fans, coming out to show their appreciation to the BYB, it's like it's a part of something big, and the momentum has gone way upwards in the past few years for the BYB since they launched many years ago now.
Yeah, no, it's only getting bigger and bigger. I've been in the sport for bare knuckles now for about 3 years, and the televisation and the reach that we're making around the world is unbelievable, and it's growing substantially quickly. And yeah, it's only going to get bigger. I know Frank Bruno was part of the BKB team.
Yeah.
I used to see him at the BKB fights quite a lot, and he's a legend in what he does. We've had a few others, Big Nasty, things like that. But it's people enjoy this sport. A lot of people most sit there and go, it's too violent, it's too raw. But hey, listen, they end up watching it eventually, and they enjoy it. Like, just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's great to be part of that. It's going to put my name to be remembered. I ain't going anywhere until I said I'd stop at 40, which is another 2 years. But to be honest, I'll probably keep going until the doctor says I can't fight no more.
Fair enough. Fair enough. On that point, then, as well, because people will want to know that what is making bare knuckle fighting and BYB so popular at the moment. Is it because of what's happening in other sports, making it as popular as ever, that people now drawing to the BYB because it's something different and more exciting?
Do you know what? I think with all, as you say, with the underworld fights that you see on there, people are watching it, and they're brutal, but they are uncontrolled. They're not. You can see they're not in a professional setting. Whereas what BYB and BKB have done together as a team, and now BYB, they've really focused on pushing the professionalism in it. And you can see it in the broadcast, and you can see it in the worldwide footage and things like that. So you can see that they're pushing to make it as good as it can be, and it's only going to get better because the plans and ideas they've got coming forward are brilliant, and that they're matchmaking as well. Like, I don't really think I've seen any matchmaking that shouldn't have been done. Like, sometimes you look at a boxing fight and think, well, he shouldn't be fighting him, or you look at an MMA fight and you think, oh, should they be fighting that person? Whereas BKB, I don't think I've seen one where I've gone, oh, that really shouldn't have happened, really. Yeah. So it all comes down to the professionalism of the backside team as well. Jim, Joe, Dom, all those, they're working really tightly to kind of make sure they're bringing the best of their team and what they've got.
Yeah. No, I like how you mentioned or name dropped good old Dom. Good old Don there. He's a cool guy. He's a very busy guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a really busy guy. But he's a lovely guy as well. I've spoke to him away from the cameras.
Yeah.
I was in a hotel as him in Cardiff. So after the fight, I was pretty drunk.
I think Don will appreciate that little shout out there. Yeah. Don is a great guy, but he loves the beer.
Yeah, well, I was pretty drunk as well, to be fair. But no, the partner said she spent some time with him as well. He's a real down to earth kind of guy.
Yeah.
And Jim and Joe, they're brilliant. I've never had a bad word to say about them both. And they obviously look after the Europe side of it now, kind of making sure everything runs smoothly. And yeah, I never have doubts in any of the team that I've been on there. So.
Yeah. Will you be heading to Leeds? Will you be coming to Leeds to watch it, even if you're not going to be fine on it?
I have just received my tickets today, actually. So Jim sent me across some tickets for me and my missus to go along. I'll probably be going to the Wolves one afterwards as well. I do like just to show my face, and I also like watching it and getting involved and getting inside the fans. Because on fight night, I kind of. People come and watch me, and I'm here, there, and everywhere, or I'm out back trying to settle myself and relax and get myself into the zone. So when I go to watch the shows and I'm not in them, I can actually get more involved and say hello, hi babe.
Well, this is live TV. This is live. This is not uncut, unedited. We just saw some latest one past there. Yeah.
So yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, no, it's good to get involved with the fans and be on the other side of it as well. But when I go to watch a show, I do get itchy knuckles and itchy feet because I want to be in the ring. So it's one of those.
And I guess when you're watching the show and people recognise you, think, "Oh my word, it's him!" They probably come and try to get autographs as well. But does that get a bit annoying at times when you're trying to watch a fight and you keep getting interrupted by fans recognising you and wanting your autograph or want to just chat to you about the fight or whatever?
Nah, do you know what? No, like I'm not one of those people that if I say to people when I get out to the back room, like after a fight, you try and walk out to your fans and to your supporters that have come to watch you from your hometown, and by the time you get to them and walk back to the change room, an hour and a half's gone by because you're just stopping and speaking to everybody. But I haven't ever got an issue with speaking. If someone wants to stop me and have a quick conversation, or if they want a photo, I don't think I've signed many autographs. I've signed a couple, but. Like photos are the big thing, and I'm quite happy to stand and take a photo, whether I've just had a fight or whether I'm not having a fight. So I'm quite easily approached. It's not an issue for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Good way to be. Because then fans recognize you more, and get your name out there, and tell me this guy is legit. He's a cool guy, and I want to hang around with him whenever I see him at an event.
Yeah, that's it. So like I'm approachable. I'm not bothered who comes up to me. I'm quite happy to have a beer with somebody if I'm not in camp. If I'm in camp, obviously I won't. I'll have a water.
Yeah.
um, yeah. I'm not no issue at all. Like that's what grows the sport as well. It's not just that. If you've just got fighters that aren't going to acknowledge fans, it's not going to grow. And I don't think there's many fighters out there that won't. Like they're all a good bunch of people. Although we would get into a ring and beat the hell out of each other, we're all quite respectful out back. Like I've never got a bad word to say about any fighter. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of respect between fighters. I suppose you grow it more when you have a fight as well. Like I've only just yesterday I had a conversation with Ryan, the guy that I beat in Cardiff, like making sure he was all right, making sure he got home and everything. He was in hospital for a couple of weeks, but he's home now. He's safe, and we've had a chit chat, and yeah, I'm the top guy.
Good. Good, and that's something that many people don't see. Like what happens behind the scenes after a fight. Do they care about their opponents? Type thing. It's good to see that you actually do and take the time, making sure A is okay, and B once he gets at home and recovering, that you're also checking in on as well. So I'm sure he respects that from you as well.
Yeah. Like we had a conversation. It was rubbish that he had to kind of spend the time in the hospital, and
Yeah.
you don't ever want to take somebody away from their family,
No.
but at the end of the day, we're there to do a job, and I did the job that needed to be done, and he understands that. I understand that. And to be fair, after the fight, when he got took to hospital because he got took from the fight, none of his family or his fans came up and gave me any trouble. They were all quite really respectful, letting me know they were Ryan's fans, that it was a good fight, and letting me know that Ryan was okay. So yeah, I really enjoyed Cardiff. Actually, it was a great atmosphere.
And of course, you can see, of course, BYB again in Leeds in the West Yorkshire area on October the 12th. And my guy right here is going to be present at the show, not in the fighting way, but he will be there watching all the fights happen. And it's going to be a great show. The crowd's going to be lit. Let's see how Leeds compared to Cardiff. Will they be as amped up or even better than Cardiff? One way to find out. Be there and be a part of history. But you need to tell the people in charge of the shows that they need to come to the best city in the world, Manchester, UK, and then tell them to go to Peterborough. Put a show in Peterborough and Manchester, UK in 2025 because the people want to see it. If you want to see the most amped up fans at 3 o'clock in the morning, then come to Manchester, UK. Mike Goldberg will vouch because he's been to Manchester before and he knows that the wild Mancunians will be up for anything. Believe me, even at 3 o'clock in the morning, as you saw at the UFC a few months ago with our great footballer, Wayne Rooney, even sitting at ringside watching the fights.
Yeah, well, they do have a good football team up there.
Well, yeah, it depends which football team you're on about because one is doing so well nowadays and the other not so well.
Well, I don't glory hunt, so I've always been a Man U fan. My uncle took me to see one when I was a kid, so
get in. That's something we have in common. Then that's good. we can be sorrow together, which I love. But what is your goals then for the rest of this year? Have you got any goals at all?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that because I was meant to fight for a title fight after Rolando for a world title against Barry Jones, but obviously with the buy of BYB buying BKB, the fight that needed to be made was LT Smash versus Barry Jones, and it was a cracking fight. It lived up to the expectations, but it also meant I missed out on that world title shot. So my plan, whether it be end of this year, beginning of next year, I want LT Smash. And I think it'll be a cracking fight. Couldn't call you a winner. I think he fights exactly the same as I do. He can get hit with some absolute stonkers of shots and he still comes forward. I've proven I can get hit with some big old shots and still keep coming forward. We fight quite nastily in the clinch. I think me and LT Smash needs to happen at some point.
Yes.
And sometime soon. I want the fight. He knows I want the fight. I've spoke to him. I've spoke to the team. I've spoke to the promoters. I'm not a massive shit talker. I'm not massive on promoting, as in like putting up little digs on videos and saying I want this. I straight up just say I want that fight. I want LT Smash, and if need be, I'll go for anybody that's got to put in front of me. But that fight needs to happen. I think that is going to be an absolute belter of a fight. And again, as long as I give everything, win, lose or draw, I really don't care. But it definitely needs to happen, and that's my goal. I want that world title fight. And to be fair, if he fights somebody else and loses it, I still want to fight LT Smash.
Fair enough, but what a good goal, because we do want you to become a world champion at BYB. So you'll be representing all of Peterborough and beyond. So we want to see it.
Yeah, and I think it'll be one of the fight of the ages. I think it won't ever be forgotten once that fight happens.
Well, it could be the fight of the decade.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what it's going to be. Fight of the decade.
There you go. There you go. You have to come on my show. You're going to get the best ratings. Go on the show. Good, we'll give it to you as well. And of course, you can follow my guest on his Instagram, as I tagged yesterday and this evening. Of course, you can find me at BKB, and then his second name Reffell. It's the spelling on his official Instagram. What is the wording for the beginning of your Instagram? What's all that about? I'm just curious.
What, BKB Reffell?
Yeah, I just thought you might call yourself the Rebel or something like that. Make it street and short.
You know what? I'm the last Reffell in my family, male. Yeah, the rest are all females. We've got my Uncle Alan as well. He's there as well, but I'm the last youngest male to be called a Reffell, so I kind of wanted to get it stuck out there, and I'm not afraid. I'm proud of that name. So yeah, as much as I am the rebel, and I've always been a rebel, that is my name. So that's what I went for.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, hopefully your children, your daughters, may have some children, and hopefully maybe they might keep the name, and maybe have it as a fighting name. Depends, doesn't it? So.
Well, I've told them they need to keep the name. So if any man wants to take on my daughters and you want to marry them, make sure you're prepared to lose your second name, because I'll fight you for it.
I love it. That's what we like to see. Fighting talk here on the on my show. Talking about before about celebrities, who do you want to see come in as a celebrity then to BYB? Maybe not even doesn't have to be a fighter on the card, obviously, but just to come and watch it here in the UK. Who would you love to see come and see it?
Love to see Tom Hardy. I think that guy's a legend. I think Tom Hardy, he's one of those rough and ready actors, and he when he played the Craze, he did that brilliantly. And he's one of my favourite actors, to be fair. So I'd love to see Tom Hardy come and watch a show. I think he'd enjoy that.
Yeah, I think so as well. I agree. Good show for a celeb. Hopefully Tom Hardy will come out and see a show and come meet you, or vice versa.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, would be, wouldn't it? Well, it has been a pleasure having you on the show tonight. But before we let you go, is there anything you would like to get off your chest, which you think is important? I mean, you might think I'm not mentioning, which you think you should be mentioning here. So I'll give you the final words.
I'd just like to say thanks to my family and supporters for always being there for me. My kids, Riley, Faith, Piper, Tara, Casey, Summer, and then my partner, Sadie, as well. She's always behind me. My team, Belinda, Rena. You've never let me down. You've always been behind me. And every other sport that's been there. But my final word is LT. Let's have it.
Love it. Yes, he's been called out now. Yeah, tonight on the best kept secret here on YouTube.com, and we got to thank of course Don and his team for helping to make this happen. My final thoughts to you here this evening is, when they came to you about going on this particular show, what was your instant reaction to that? You're probably thinking, who the hell is this person?
Oh, to be fair, I was like, well, who is it? I don't know. But I'm happy to do anything, and I am willing to put the BYB name out there, to mention everybody that puts it all together. and I'm happy to be part of the team. So yeah, I'm willing to do anything. Like I'm quite happy to get involved in the interviews. It's 7 o'clock here now. My kids are going to bed soon. They've got starting school this week, but they've all gone shot out for me to get some quiet. So yeah, listen, I'm part of the BYB family, and I'm here to stay until the doctor says I can't fight. So
Yes, but hopefully be many more decades to come, and we can't wait for that. And so when you responded then with who's that, then what was the response you got?
oh well. I got the response because I thought the person that messaged me was the one that I was having the interview with, and I was
Oh
like, I
right,
look
I
forward.
see.
And then they went, no, this is the person. I went, oh, right, okay. Doesn't matter who it is. I'm not fussed.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. That's hilarious. I love that story. But you've been a great guest, and a great spirit, and I hope you have a lot of fun. Of course, on the October the 12th in Leeds for BYB 32. I can't wait to see when your next fight will be, as we wish you the best of luck, and I'm sure it won't go any longer than the first round, even though you want it to go longer than the first round. Like, you're a crazy man. I think like anybody, I think any fight would love to go, less than a round, because that's a great way to get your fighting and then get the win, get the W.
Yeah, well, W is always a good thing. It's always a bonus to walk away with. But the battle scars and the story of the fight is also good. I do love that, and it's never going to change. I don't mind going to rounds. Let's go the distance, LT. Let's go to rounds. Let's give the fans what they want, and let's make history.
Yeah, make history, and let's do it in one place, Manchester, UK. That has to be the venue.
Let's do it in Manchester, LT.
Yes, there you go. And if you enjoyed this episode, and all you have to do is make sure to like it on YouTube, share the video around, tell everybody about the Rebel, tell them about how he wants LT, tell them why it should happen right here in Manchester, not Leeds, not London, not Cardiff, but right here in good old Manchester. The Mancunians want it, and I can't wait to see that. It should happen right here. It'd be a lit fight, and I think the road on the street will be the best in the decade out of them all in the trenches, in the warring trenches. And until the next episode, because who knows, we'll be on the show next. And all you have to do is smash that subscribe button and make sure you tuned in for the next episode, whenever that will be. And I can tell you right now, it's not too long in the near distance. So until the next episode, enjoy the rest of your afternoon or evening.